Brendan McGinty, cinematographer on Welcome to Earth Nat Geo series. It's just an incredible show. The visuals on this constantly blew me away. I think I read it took more than 3 years to make. Where did you start in the preparation process? Like, where do you even begin with something like this?
Yeah, it was a huge journey. It began, at least, well, 3 years ago, we began to shoot, and we were shooting throughout COVID, throughout lockdown. But we were in pre-production 6 months to a year before that, shooting sort of camera tests, trying to refine an approach, working quite closely in the UK with the showrunner Graham Booth and in the States with Darren Aronofsky. So yeah, it was very much, we all knew each other from One Strange Rock, which was something that I'd worked on. But there was a real shift with Welcome to Earth in that they wanted to immerse their host, Will Smith, in these landscapes. So it was a very radical proposal, really, to take sort of a Hollywood A-list actor and put them on a volcano at the bottom of the ocean, glaciers, all these places. And we wanted a photographic style. There was a huge ask of me to develop a photographic style that would accommodate this new sort of immersion of Will.
And so how did you go about doing that? Because it is remarkable, but I'd love you to talk about it.
I mean, it's there's a couple of things going on. So for the documentary sort of vignettes within the series, and I shot a fair few of those as well. Those were shot Super 35, but we decided that for the sections with Will, we wanted to shoot full frame. So we were shooting sort of VistaVision. So that, visually gave us, some of your people you've interviewed so far have alluded to the kind of intimacy that gave us, combined with, it's that mixture of trying to capture the large sort of landscape, this big canvas of the world in all its kind of glory, but at the same time retain the intimacy. So we knew we wanted these huge set pieces with, we were running multiple operators on up to sort of 7 operators in some of the set pieces, where we'd go from gimbal to Steadicam to handheld to long lenses shooting onto things as well. But at the end of the day, we always knew, true to my sort of documentary roots, that I would be handheld with Will. So it was trying to find that note of, so one of the things they were trying to capture was continuous action as much as possible. They wanted to try, everything was completely unscripted, and we'd almost block through an area, if you like, and we'd have sort of a journey, say, Will going up a volcano, getting to the top, looking in, seeing the magma, going down to the edge of an active volcano. And we'd block it through sort of days before, to decide how we would move camera equipment. But then on the day, of course, being a documentary, being sort of human beings and responding to very real situations, you have to be handheld. You have to be on the shoulder with someone, experiencing it at the same time as them, not being in front of them. So
yeah. Do you have, like, I mean, it sounds like this is just a matter of incredible preparation, but when I was watching, I was like, wow, obviously this is all stuff happening in real time, and you're getting these incredible shots, and if you just can't miss anything, right? There's no room for error, I guess. And so how do you, like, is that just like you said, like making, like, for lack of a better word, like rehearsing it and making sure it's all like prepped out, or like how do you account for like not missing the great moments?
I have to say the team that we had were, absolutely world-class. Everyone was, people from a sort of documentary background. I mean, not entirely, I shoot sort of commercials and drama as well. And I think they very much wanted me because of that, understanding that aesthetic of being a DP, running a team of, a very big team actually, and pre-production and all of these kind of, the way of working commercials where you've got full control of the world. But then at the end of the day, I've shot tons of documentaries where it's just me with the camera on my shoulder and stuff's happening incredibly fast. So I suppose it's about team. It's having people around you who are very, very responsive, who are very calm, very unflappable. And yeah, I think, it was something that Toby just said. At the end of the day, you realize the greatest tool you have is being handheld. that really resonated, because, you know, we had all the toys imaginable, you know, gimbals and gyro stabilized heads and, you know, multiple drones, and you've got all this kind of arsenal of photographic equipment. But the amount of scenes that just ended up with, you know, a camera, I would always operate a camera as well, and I was always on Will. But it would end up with me and a B camera operating, sort of cross shooting two people in these pretty wild scenarios. Yeah, and it's interesting, you always come back to that, you know, two people talking in the midst of all this stuff, and, you know, stuff you've been shooting your whole life. You always come back to that.
You have like, I mean, like watching it, it's just, again, like the visuals, you can't even believe that they're real almost, right? It's like so incredible. Like for you guys, or for you, was there one moment where you're just like, wow, I can't, like, what was like, I guess, what was there one where you were like, wow, what a surprise, I can't believe I'm shooting this right now, or anything like that? Like, I mean, what was like the standout or the headliner for you?
To be honest, the entire series was an amazing journey for me. I mean, I've been super fortunate. My career has taken me to all these really beautiful, exotic places. And something that I always say to my drama colleagues is, there's something so magical about going to, I don't know, the Amazon rainforest, the way the light breaks through trees and you've got green bounce off the leaves, or, you know, shooting in the Arctic, where you've got sort of perpetual low daylight and this bounce of the ice. There's something about the natural world and the kind of gift of the light and the textures and that, which is really hard to get back to if you're trying to orchestrate everything from scratch. So photographically, it's a gift. I mean, the amount of times I would get up to the top of a glacier and I can't believe it. You know, I can't believe what I'm looking at, how beautiful everything looks. The volcano really stands out. What I didn't expect, apart from the incredible danger of shooting up there, was the way the light broke through all of the gases, which are actually very, very toxic gases. So we're all wearing special breathing apparatus and stuff. But the light was sort of pinks and blues and yellows and all this really unexpected palette. And fire, you know, the magma itself creating this red glow. And it would become quite dark with all the gases. So you'd be lit by this magma as well. It was extraordinary. I mean, I'm not sure you could ever get to it with lighting. So yeah, a lot of times it was that. It's just the kind of gift of the natural world, in shooting at the right time of day in the right conditions. And, you know, very hard to sort of get back to that when you're trying to set a look. You know, so sometimes you're in these places and they present to you tremendous beauty. Just, you know, it's just there happening.
And then, and something like this, and obviously like you said, you have like a lot of experience doing this, like One Strange Rock as well. Like, what is something, I guess, that is there like a misconception that somebody might have watching this, or like that they're not understanding? Do you ever run into that? Or like, what is something that maybe people would be like surprised by, that, you know, or they don't understand?
I do know. I remember in pre-production, something that you mentioned a while ago, is they found with One Strange Rock, when they showed it to audiences, they were testing the series before they put it out, and a lot of people couldn't believe the photography and thought they were looking at CG stuff. So I think, you know, which, you know, felt great, but equally you felt sort of cheated, that people didn't realize the kind of great labors you'd gone to shoot some of this stuff. I suppose it's, you know, a lot of people look at some of the bigger set pieces we do, and they imagine, particularly since we have a sort of Hollywood, you know, A-list Hollywood person in the frame, they imagine that we've orchestrated and scripted and blocked and everything. And we haven't. There's tons of preparation, but we have let the situation go absolutely wild. So it is, I think that's probably you know, if there's a misconception, it's that we may be, you know, there's a lot of fiction involved, and there isn't. I mean, we really are. We would shoot very, very fast in a day, sometimes a couple of days, in these very exotic, beautiful locations where a lot of action's happening, and things typically were pretty dangerous most of the time. And we are just following it in a way. Our balancing act there was we had this tremendous sort of cinematographic aspiration. You know, we've got Darren Aronofsky directing on the ground, and he wants a certain look and feel. You know, he's built a career on very strong sort of visual aesthetic. So you've got all this kind of you want it to look like something you might see in the cinema and be blown away by, but equally you're in service of the real world and reality and things, you know, the wildebeest migration crossing the river, that happens incredibly fast. And even to just line up up there with Will and migration was, you know, your heart's in your mouth. I mean, it's happening very, very fast. So yeah, I think it's that. A lot of people imagine that they're looking at very orchestrated stuff, but they're not.
Right. I guess that is maybe that's a compliment too, right? Because it's like, oh wow, it's so great and so precision that it must be not real, but it actually is, which makes it so much better. Brendan McGinty, the show is incredible. Welcome to Earth, streaming all Nat Geo show, but streaming all on Disney Plus at the moment. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.